28-year-old slacker Gord Brody decides to follow his dreams, pursue a career in Hollywood as a cartoonist slash animator, whatever he's pursuing, but follows this bizarre string of events leading to his eventual success. Hello, everyone. I'm Caleb Leger,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Bad. Oh boy, we're talking about it. 2001's surreal comedy, Freddy Got Fingered, was one of the most hated films, comedy or otherwise, on its release. When it came out, everyone hated it, but somehow, because the earth, the Lord, God, whatever, is a cool fucking place, has had a critical reevaluation and is now considered a cult classic and beloved by many fans of comedy and comedians that I'll get into later. Honestly, I don't get it. Before we do any of that, though, would you like to bring up the scores?
Sure. But first, I'd just like to say, I think a lot of people are full of shit. I think a lot of people don't want to seem like the dumbest guy in the room. So when somebody with credentials says, Freddy Got Fingered really had a lot to offer comedy in 2001, they'll just agree with them for the sake of, not sounding stupid. There's a lot of that going around in the film community. There always has been. I refuse to believe that a lot of people actually find this movie to be of any value whatsoever.
Yeah. And to an extent, not to defend those people, I get it. I remember when, full disclosure, I didn't see any of the Godfather films until I actually went to film school, until I was in college. For years, I didn't tell people that. I acted like I seen them because I didn't want to deal with film fans that pull this. Oh, you mean you haven't seen The Godfather? It's like one of the greatest goddamn films of all time. You took the time to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, though. It's like, well, I mean, yeah. Look at my tattoos. So I get it because film buffs, film snobs can be fucking annoying if you haven't seen something or you disagree with them. At the same time, as I've gotten older and I'm slowly approaching the age of 30, I realize I don't give a fuck what you think if I haven't seen the movie or not, or if I liked it. You can sit there and try to tell me how great this film is. I fucking hated it. I despise the hour and 27 goddamn minutes I sat through this movie. So if you like it, cool. Explain your case to me, defend it, but I will not agree with you.
Yeah, same here. In fact, you're going to lose points for me if I find out that you enjoyed this. If I go to your place and this is in your collection, I probably will not stay for dinner. I'm probably going to leave. This has
an stay for some sausages.
Oh God! They start singing the goddamn sausage song, I'm going to punch them. Ugh. Tom Green, what the fuck were we all thinking? This guy had a good 3-4 year run, and then goddamn. Anyway, 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, 56 audience score, and the critics' consensus is the funniest one I've ever read on Rotten Tomatoes. Unfavorably comparing it with such infamously bad titles as Battlefield Earth, a significant number of critics are calling Tom Green's extreme gross-out comedy the worst movie they have ever seen. Showgirls has been dethroned. This is the worst movie we have talked about on this show yet. Change my mind.
Look, I defend the fact that at least Showgirls is fun in a bad sort of way. I can enjoy a very good chunk of Showgirls with how totally inept that film is. This one, though, there is no enjoyment. I remember I texted you. I even told Josh, emailed him. I've seen plenty of fucked up horror films. As of this recording, by the time the show comes out, it will be out on Shudder. There's one coming out very soon on Shudder called The Sadness. Heard a lot of fucked up things about it. I cannot wait. Looking forward to all the violence that goes about to get thrown to my face. Seen plenty of fucked up things. I love the Jackass movies. I've sat through a fucking Serbian film. And yet, for the first like 30-ish minutes of this film, I kept having to put my fucking pizza down. So I was like, I cannot attempt to eat when he's biting a fucking umbilical cord with his teeth for laughs. Like, yeah, Showgirls, I could at least in this film was just gross, stupid, not funny. No, yeah, the Pyramid was better than this.
There is so much animal cock in this movie. And I just somebody paid for this. Somebody paid $14 million for this movie.
A producer looked at this and approved what he saw. I was like, I like this. Let's keep this going.
It made $3,000.
Because at the time we were smart, people saw it and went, nope.
Oh, wait, my mistake. $300,000, which is sad.
So yeah, it's still not good compared to what his budget was.
Nope. But we'll get into that. This is I felt like I'd lost a piece of myself watching this. Like I've sat. This might be the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, this was. I'm all about outrageousness. I'm all about being offensive with your humor. I don't care. Like, I have laughed at that type of stuff. I just, the way Tom Green to me was more annoying than funny. He was loud. He was obnoxious. It's just like, it wasn't funny. It was just like, dude, shut the fuck up.
He's that class clown who keeps saying the same dumbass shit until they get a laugh. It's the worst. I hate people like that.
Yeah, it's class clown here. It's getting up randomly going, I'm a sexy boy, ding dong, and being like, okay, what part of that joke was funny? Because I don't get it.
Yeah, I will never understand what we all saw in Tom Green. It's not my generation, the previous generation. I want to ask some people, like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah, and it didn't last because I'll kind of get into it now because I think I forgot to put it into the whole like production stuff because there wasn't a lot of development on this film. So heads up, development hell won't be very long. But it came out at the same time as Jackass, his show. So whereas Jackass has continued to the point that this new film was a huge success. Paramount Plus announced the new series coming out, more than likely with the new guys. I doubt it's any of the old guys because they have all made it very clear they're done. But that one's still going. Whereas for Tom Green, like, it seemed like he had his moment and everyone kind of realized this guy is not funny, he's just stupid. And he just faded into like the podcasting, stand-up, doing his own show at his house type of thing. Like, he's still doing stuff. I looked it up. It's nowhere near what he had in at this point in his career.
Yeah. This guy at the height of his fame was given $14 million to make a movie and he was banging Drew Barrymore. Like, this dude was on top of the world, and then he was gone. Thank God.
With no hope of coming back. He probably, honestly, I'm gonna say it, we won't see anything about him until we hear the obituary one day, and then there'll be other people talking about how he was this comedic genius. Then we'll hear about him again, but I don't see anything him doing getting him the kind of attention he got when during this time of his career.
Not at all.
Yeah. With that, before we get into production, out of curiosity, I'm sure I know the answer, but do you have any familiarization with Tom Green prior to this film and his work? Anything at all?
Regrettably, yeah, I do.
I thought that was gonna be a no. I quickly threw that question in there, but okay.
I've been a fan of the movie Charlie's Angels pretty much my whole life, and Tom Green is in that movie. He is Drew Barrymore's weird ass boyfriend, the Chad, who has a tugboat and comes into play later in the movie and is constantly, referring to himself as the Chad. So even back then, I didn't know who the guy was, but he was easily the most annoying part of this movie that I liked. And then I watched Road Trip for the first time last month. So he was in that too. So I have seen some Tom Green. I've never cared for the guy. I thought he was obnoxious. And now I've gotten too much.
Yeah. I feel like even like, because I know he's not. I think he's only a supporting character in Road Trip, right? He's not like a main character.
He's the narrator who's telling them the story, and he keeps trying to get a snake to eat a mouse. So he's in a good chunk of the movie.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't think, but I'm sure like that's not a case of film that I'm sure everyone else around him's hilarious because I've seen the cast for that movie, and then
Yeah.
there's just him sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, road Trip's not bad. He weighs it down.
It's just like he believes in like being outrageous and loud and excessive and obnoxious and random shit just goes being random. There's no lead up to a punchline or anything. You know what I mean? It's like nothing. Like again, I'm going for a Jackass because his show was around the same time, so they kind of both were enjoying their success there. Whereas like Jackass works right because we know it's pranks. We know that's what they're doing. They're setting up pranks to get done, and they do it long enough to see the prank, see the outcome, boom, move on to the next one. You know what I mean? It's just like that. They're never really that obnoxious. It's just a bunch of friends having a good time, blah blah blah. This is the guy that I feel like he's the only one in on the joke, and it just, I'm not saying that hasn't worked for people in the past. You know, obviously you had Andy Kaufman was big about that with his stand up. He was the only one in on the joke. That's why he was so now well remembered. But I feel like it probably worked more for Andy Kaufman because he wasn't exactly obnoxious. He wasn't loud. He wasn't aggressive. For me, it just comes out here like, dude, I want to sit there and be like, dude, shut the fuck up. Leave me alone. I don't like you, Tom Green. Stop it.
I think enough people had to say stop it for him to go away. And I think they did. I think with Freddy Got Fingered, enough people were like, fuck this, I'm out. And we got rid of him.
Yeah, because unlike you, I actually did not have as much familiarity even as you had with them. I had heard about this movie all my life. I had a buddy that was a big fan of it. I never watched it. The only scene I knew about was the "Hey, do you got some sausages? Hey, do you want some sausages?" That's all I knew about the movie was that one scene.
Jesus.
And finally, I was like, when I was doing the schedule, I was like, you know what? We got to at least, I try to pick the occasional like holy grail of bad films to place throughout the schedule. And when I did this one, I was like, okay, let me do this and finally get a chance to watch it. And boy, wow. Yeah, I got a whole heaping of Tom Green. I don't want anymore.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten my fill of shitty 2001 comedy. Like it's going to be a minute before I watch more. Yeah, I just felt like I needed something to get the taste out of my mouth. You know what I mean? Afterwards.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I finish this, I think I said like I said last time. As soon as I finished, I turned on the second episode of week 2 of Last Drive-In and watched Death by Temptation. I had a much more fun time with that film than I did with Freddy Got Fingered.
I watched a shit ton of Teen Titans. That's what I'm on. That's what I'm watching right now.
As we record, that's amazing talent right there.
Yeah, I got it. One eye's watching it over there, the other eye's podcast.
Yeah, I've seen people look. Okay, so I thought this was just dudes on the boat. I was like on when I was on Nimitz, but apparently a lot of people are able to do this, which is weird because apparently attention spans are so bad. I have seen people play like on their Switch, like video games, right? As a fucking movie's playing, and they're doing both. Like they're playing and then looking up, watching the movie, and then play. I'm like, how the fuck are you doing that? There are both those are mediums that require your full eye attention.
I'm depending if I've seen the movie a bunch of times, I can do something on my computer while I'm watching it. Like it's, that's possible.
But if it's something that you haven't seen,
well, I'm not gonna. No, why would I do something else?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. It's usually movies they haven't seen. I'm like,
well, then they're clearly not watching the movie. They're just playing their Switch.
Supposedly.
Are they able to recall anything about the movie?
I don't know. I always see them do it for a movie, or if they're like watching an anime show, that's what they'll do. They'll have like the anime show that they're actively watching, playing as they're also doing Switch. And I'm like, how? Or they have like their PlayStation, but then their phone down there so they can also watch their fucking anime show. I'm like, one or the other. One or the other.
All right. Well, next time Freddy Got Fingered is on, and I don't have the ability to turn off the TV or change the channel, I'm going to mute it and do whatever I can to distract myself with anything else.
Oh yeah, if I can't change it, I'm pulling out my Switch and doing that exact move I just complained about because I have plenty of games I need to play on my Switch anyway.
I mean, I feel like a good method of torture is to lock somebody in a room with this movie on full blast 24/7. No break within 20 minutes, I guarantee you.
God, and then told people that it's had a critical reevaluation. So they just be like the whole time, like, how? Why?
Yeah. Surrealist comedy, my ass. This is not, yeah. We'll get into it when we get to the what's in the box.
Yeah. Okay. Unless we have more, like I said, I don't have much on development hell, but I'm gonna go ahead and segue into that unless you have more to say about this wonderful film that we had it through.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. As I've said about 5 times now, not a lot. Most of what I was finding was on the release and subsequent reevaluation. I could not find shit on like Wikipedia, IMDb, anywhere on like the making of this damn film. So I pulled some shit that I could to get something. This was made following the success of the Tom Green show, and at the time, comedian's rising popularity. You know, he was starting to hit his peak. With that, he decided to make his feature directorial debut with this very film. As we said, it's been dubbed a surreal comedy, and it would actually borrow heavily from him getting the Tom Green show off the ground. Like we said, right, it features Future Green as a young man trying to get his television series off the ground. So not unlike whatever he did to get his show going. Mind you, he's doing this though in a comedy that was directed, co-written, and starred him with many of his gross out antics interspersed throughout the goddamn movie. I have to point this out because I doubt on the road to the Tom Green show he had to jerk off a horse at any time.
I feel like he didn't have to, but he did.
He did.
I bet his pitch was not your average pitch. I think he did some weird wacko shit. He probably did storm in there, demanding an audition. He's that kind of crazy son of a bitch.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he has that whole scene where like he storms into the building, and you can tell it's meant to be funny. Like he's just blowing past the security guard. I'm like, no, this is funny. This is fucking stupid, man.
Yeah, Japan 4.
Yeah, I'm like, if you just told him what you're doing, he could probably go all the way up to the top. He wouldn't give a shit.
Anybody who tries to anybody who thinks that's how you get a show in Hollywood or a job or something, just like barging in there and demanding you be heard, is a goddamn idiot.
No, you'll be living out a porn fantasy or homeless in LA if you do that. There's some other thriving businesses there that will suck you up real quick.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So, like I said, with that, there's almost virtually nothing on this film's production. So, we're going to talk about its reception. But I will say, before we do that, there's something I want to point out with the rating. I kind of talked about earlier. It's how you feel about it. So they did have a brief battle with the MPA or MPAA at the time, whatever you want to fucking call it, because it did get slapped with an NC-17 rating, because of an even more graphic depiction of the death scene at the end of the recurring gag of the kid getting hurt, and also in the movie you hear him in the background say, "I'm fine." You heard nothing. It was very much the kid died there.
Ha ha ha! Hilarious. What an asshole.
Yeah, so the NPA kind of was like, no. And made them get it re-edited for an R rating and then eventually finally released. Like I said, with that, they had to actually not show it. Just see the blood splatter and then have him say in the background, "I'm fine." So it'd be a little bit more of a ha 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 joke because, okay, he's fine. It's ridiculous. Which I actually, for once, as much as I fucking hate the MPA and the many things I've read when it comes with the horror film battles of the early 2000s and the 80s and whatnot, I agree with them here. Like, I don't see the punchline of the kid actually dying being funny. I think it's more funny. I think it's more funny having this ridiculous moment happen when he gets hit by a propeller all that blood, and you start and go, I'm fine. Like that to me is funny. Like, I can laugh at that. Like it's ridiculous. It's over the top. Okay, cool. I don't know. I don't know how you feel. So
I just felt that gag was too much. The kid constantly getting hurt and then like screaming and crying as blood is pouring out of his face every time. It was just like, Jesus. I mean, just have the baseball hit him and then we cut away. That's funny. But then him sit there and sob from gaping mouth wounds, like, Jesus, cut away. This hurts. Like I was thinking of like Scary Movie 3 when the kid, what's his name? Cody gets like accidentally lifted into the ceiling fan and flies out the window. And then you just see him like walk back in holding his head in the background. Like that's pretty funny. Because it's not, it doesn't feel like real injuries. But this took it too far, I thought.
Yeah, but you could say that honestly, a lot of times he goes too far. Like the scene where the guy breaks his leg.
Oof.
I get this one I'm talking about with the gross out. This is another part I forgot that I had to put my fucking food down. It's like, okay. Not because of the gaping wound, like that was fine. It's the moment Tom Green feels the need to lick it. Where I'm like, why? What is funny about that? Am I missing something? Like that's not fucking funny, dude. It's gross. Why did you have to go there?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like when he just pulls off the side of the road to go and grab a horse cock because he's like, oh my God, I want to play with it. Like, what the fuck could happen there? Yeah, it's an uncomfortable movie.
Yeah, upon initial release, the film, as we talked about, I'm sure we can talk about more here now, would be a box office bomb. Like heavy emphasis on bomb. Critically reviled. I mean, fucking hated, and scored 8 Razzie nominations. Like this film got destroyed.
Thank God.
Yes.
Can you imagine if this was like one of the like top 10 highest grossing films of 2001 and is like regarded as a masterpiece, and then we go back and watch it and we're like, what the fuck? What happened?
Not that there are films that's happened while I'm like, I wonder why this is a masterpiece. Like I've had that happen before. Yeah. But this one I would have like that long moment of like, what happened in our country? That this was a hit and is considered like a classic of comedy. Who hurt us at this time?
Yeah, I'm glad everyone's kind of on the same page here, except for random film snobs who want to sound like the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, which brings me to my next part of this. The part where, as I have it here in my script, something weird happened. The film, since it got hated, instead of getting buried, lost to time, Tom Green just not even being mentioned in talks of comedians anymore, it's gained quite the cult following and has become embraced by fans of comedy now. Like a complete fucking 180 turnaround now.
That's insane. Like, who is watching this and thinking, oh, wow, what a brilliant satire of Hollywood and the movie making process. Like, this is genius. I want to punch those people.
Yeah, I feel like we have good comedies about Hollywood already, and this isn't one of them.
No, this is dog shit that needs to be buried in the backyard.
Yeah, look, I wasn't even on like, I know I'm on like that minority here with how I feel about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It did a better job of making fun of aspects of Hollywood than this film did.
Yeah, by a long shot, because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's a really good movie, and this is not.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I know I'm on the minority and my feelings of it not being my favorite Tarantino film and whatnot, but it still did a hell of a better job showing us Hollywood and kind of making fun of it a bit. I'm sure there's movies that I'm also trying to fucking blank on that do a hell of a better job with lampooning Hollywood.
Yeah, Silent Movie, The Player, Blazing Saddles, kind of in the end.
Oh yeah,
Mel Brooks does it a lot.
Yeah, but the cult following has not just been a comedian fan embrace. Even people like Chris Rock, who we all know, as the victim of Slapgate, has listed this film on his website as one of his favorite movies. Thoughts, Connor? Thoughts?
suddenly I'm leaning a little bit more towards Will Smith on this thing now. I kind of want to slap him now. Seriously, Chris. Jesus Christ. You're better than this. You're funnier than Tom Green. You can do better. I know you can. I've seen you do it.
I mean, he gave us Pootie Tang, so.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe Chris Rock is just one of those guys who's like great stand-up, not quite killing it with film. Jesus.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, really, Chris? Oh, come on. Come on.
That's unfortunate.
Yes. And then all I have left at this point, I'm telling, like I said, I didn't have a lot, and I was too mind wiped to come up with like a fun list for us to do. So is that Green has himself brought up how he would like to release a director's cut. Apparently a lot of footage was cut out of the film. Yes, this film was probably longer. But in his words, he's waiting on the studio to give him the footage. So whatever weird embrace this film has gotten is not being reciprocated by the studio, because they're like, no, the war doesn't need this. Tom, we're not giving you the footage.
So this was distributed by 20th Century Fox, which means now Disney owns that footage.
Disney's gonna be like, we're burying this shit. Fuck you.
They're gonna. I hope. What's his name? Chapek. That's the guy who runs.
Chapek. Bob Chapek.
I want him to burn the footage in front of Tom Green. I want him to hire people to drag Tom Green to Disney Studios, and then they just light up the footage right in front of him and then kick his ass off the lot.
I want him to quote the lines too. As he's burning it, just, Daddy wants some sausages? Huh, Tom? Huh?
How do you like them sausages?
You're a sexy boy, aren't you? Ding dong.
Jesus Christ. Maybe the shock will break Tom Green and he'll have like an aneurysm or something, and then we can just, bury him in a shallow grave and forget he ever existed.
I usually look, I have plenty of like comedians or musicians or actors, whatever, that I'm like, look, they're just not my cup of tea, right? I get why they have a fandom, not my cup of tea. This is the first time I've started going like, why did we like this guy? Like, I don't understand it. Like, this, why did we latch on to Tom Green? Why has this film got a cult following? Why?
I feel like he made some deal with the devil where he tricked everybody, and then it expired in 2001 and we all wised up. It's the only explanation I got. I think that's around when Drew Barrymore was like, wait a minute, what the fuck am I doing with this guy? And got out of there. So I think the deal lasted for a few years and then it was over. Like the devil was like, I don't really want this soul. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
What's crazy? Okay, this came out in, let me scroll up. I have the date. Sorry, 2001, right?
Yeah.
This is not far off, and we're getting like probably one of the best boons in comedy, with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson and them still doing their shtick. That was still funny. You had Will Ferrell coming off of SNL with things like Anchorman stuff getting ready to come out. I think Anchorman may have been out.
Anchorman was 2004.
2004. But you were on the cusp of all this stuff happening. Obviously Seth Rogen and his band was getting ready to come out with a bunch of stuff. So we were like in this weird period of like comedy. Because as you know, comedy seems to work in packs, right? Like you have a certain pack of comedians that break out, do a bunch of stuff. It's a great couple of years of comedy. Then that pack gets old enough to not want to kind of do it anymore. They go pursue various other stuff. And then it gets quiet for a minute. And then a new pack comes out. We're kind of in that, I would say we're in that now. We're waiting for the next really funny pack of comedians to come out. But this was like a weird period where like you got the occasional comedy, like we kind of are now. You got random ones like this. And really, like, it's just like you had that period where it's like, let's just skip to 2004, right? Let's just get to the good stuff with Anchorman and the 40-Year-Old Virgin and Superbad. Let's just get to that, because oh god, the fact that this was one of the if you're looking for comedy, this was one of your picks, and not like the next Will Ferrell movie.
Can you imagine a universe where this was a huge success and Tom Green kind of takes Will Ferrell's career? He's Ron Burgundy. feel like the suicide rate would go up.
Yep. And like, don't I know a lot of people that actually can't stand like Will Ferrell's brand comedy, and they call it, it's very man childish.
That's fine.
And that's fine. But it's funny to me. Guess what? It's funny. It's not gross. It's not that offensive. I think it's really funny. So this one, this is literally the only comedian I can think of that I will have serious questions on why you think he's funny. And like, you know what? I'll admit it. When I was a kid, I liked Dane Cook, and I'm wondering why Tom Green was considered funny. I'm saying that because Dane Cook does not exactly have the best reputation in the world of comedy. But you know what? I'll watch his stand-up before I watch fucking this movie again.
I'm proud to say I have no comedic skeletons in my closet. I've always hated Tom Green. I've always hated Dane Cook. I've got nothing to be ashamed of.
I saw all his stand-ups. Okay. You know what? Caleb Leger, age 29, born December 16th, 1992, watched all of Dane Cook's specials and laughed at every single one of them multiple times.
You proud of that?
Yes, I am. I am more proud of that than the fact that I sat through this movie.
Okay. That's you're the one who's got to live with it.
And I've lived with it fine.
Well, good for you.
That is the hill I'm dying on. That hill right there.
Ugh.
I look forward to his comeback. Not Tom Green's, Dane Cook's.
I don't think either one are going to get one.
No, Dane Cook
collectively as an American society said no to both of these men.
Yeah, but I would argue Dane Cook lasted longer.
Oh, he did.
He had more stand-up specials. I think he had more movies, or at least more like successful films.
Yeah, we'll get to. I'm sure we'll do a few of Dane Cook's movies here because it's not like he was killing it.
No. I would actually, even I'd say in his heyday, his stand-up was doing better than his films were. And even then, I know a lot of people that liked his films that were fans of him, but yeah. Either way, I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's why I'm just saying, giving you some perspective on coming from. I can fully admit I enjoyed Dan Cook's kid, and yet, nope, Tom Green is just the one guy. I'm like, how can anyone say go like, no, I like him unironically still.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't know anybody who likes Tom Green, thank God, because I am a pretty good judge of character. And I don't.
What if I started this podcast and I told you, like, dude, I love this film. It's the greatest goddamn comedy of all time. I can't wait to watch it again. I'm getting the 4K.
We'd have to have a pretty frank conversation about your future.
It's a surrealist masterpiece. You clearly didn't get it.
I would get on a flight and go get to the Northeast just so I could beat the shit out of you for that.
I can't run right now. I'm kind of hobbling along today because I'm not trying to put pressure on my toes. So you'd probably get to me really quick.
Yeah, I catch you, and I would not go easy on you because of your situation. I would be seeing red.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't like this.
I know.
And I don't get situation that they do. It's crazy.
My situation's not even that bad. It's just like just today I'm trying to not, because it's fresh. With that, on that note, that's it. I got nothing else on Development Hell. This is much like a Firestarter episode. I don't get a lot. I know we're having some try reeks of film here, but this is not the best week so far. Hopefully Oscar Sunday can shake things up. I
think we're doing okay. I think we made a pretty decent episode out of a shitty movie this Wednesday, and I think we're doing the same thing now.
Yeah. But unless you have anything you'd like to add, maybe that you secretly love this film, you're just not telling me.
No, I don't.
I did laugh at your text. The one I fell asleep on both your texts last night because I was more tired than I assumed. But I woke up to that text of I'm watching Freddy Got Fingered. One of the worst, if not the worst film I've watched. I laughed a little bit when I saw that.
At least, it does feel kind of good to know that I've hit rock bottom. So every movie I watch going forward is going to be a little bit better than this.
I think you need to stop saying that because I feel like you keep saying that and somehow we'll watch something that is somehow worse.
I honestly don't think I can. Like, I don't see what could possibly get like under this movie.
Challenge accepted.
Like, I know next week isn't a great movie, but it's at least watchable.
Oh yeah, there is positives to next week's movies that I will defend in certain aspects in this film. I actually look. I'm gonna say like my silver lining when we get to it. I had to fucking reach.
I had to get creative. I had to get creative with that too.
And even then, like, it's not my favorite thing, but I'm like, fuck, it's only that I even got a smile on my fucking face. Before we get there, let's do our awards. I feel like this was actually probably the easiest fucking thing for me because I just had a lot to work with. Yeah, I have nothing else. Sounds like you got nothing else for Development Hell. Not a lot. So let's just do it. Move on to the awards. Our first one, Zack Snyder, who I got nothing cheeky this week for you and Zack Snyder because there's no news on his new movie. So the worst scene, what you got?
I changed this a few times. There's a lot of worst scenes in this movie. It could have been when Tom Green pulls over and decides to jerk off a horse. That was a good start. Could be this scene where he decides to just swing a newborn baby around the hospital room by its umbilical cord. But ultimately, I had to go with Rip Torn getting blasted by gallons of elephant jizz. I did not expect that, nor did I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's funny because going back to the Jackass references, they literally dumped pig semen all over Dave. But I was laughing hysterically because it was a funny joke somehow. They knew
Isn't
how
that
to make
weird?
it funny.
Oh, isn't that weird though? We see a guy get dunked in real animal jizz and we're laughing. Rip Torn gets blasted with fake animal jizz and we're like, this is reprehensible.
Yeah.
It's all about context.
Context. It's all, to quote Johnny Knoxville, it's content.
Yeah, it's content. It's all right. It's content.
Come on,
it
guys,
does feel like
I
feel like Knoxville could probably talk anybody into anything.
I just love how that's his go-to. Like it's like they don't want to do the riot gun. He's like, guys, it's content. Come on. For the movie.
But yeah, just the whole Tom Green jerking off an elephant and then just blasting his dad with the elephant's load. I was like, okay, this is something I've now seen.
Yeah. Yeah, right. This is something. And look, I have seen that scene in the Sacha Baron Cohen film he did with Mark Strong. I cannot remember the name of the movie. But when they're inside the animal as it's fucking and it jizzes or whatever, like it's oh no, they're inside a fake animal and then the real one starts fucking the fake thing they're inside of and jizzes all over them. So I've seen that scene, unfortunately. And I remember thinking, like, that's not fun. That's really gross. I don't want to see that. And then I'm watching this film and I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, it's not funny when the animal jizzes on people.
I think the film you're talking about is The Brothers Grimsby. But
yes,
I have not seen that, and now I don't want to.
Yeah, there's another horse, not horse. I think it's a rhinoceros.
Ugh.
Or was it a hippo? Oh, something. But yeah, I'm with you. I had a lot of scenes written down. That was gross. I was like, that's just not funny. I don't. What punch? Did I miss everything leading up to the punchline to that? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's just so weird too because he's running around. He starts and he's being fucking Tom Green, so he's just like yelling nonsense and saying "daddy." He keeps yelling "daddy" at the age of 28, which is so weird to me. He's like, "What's wrong, daddy?" As he's like jerking off the elephant. I'm like, "What is like? This isn't funny. Like, this is weird and stupid, and I don't like it."
I think Rip Torn had a moment where he's like, "What the fuck have I done? Why am I in this?"
I hope Shaq had a moment where he was like, why am I cameoing in this movie?
Yeah. Julie Haggerty, like, it's a far drop from Airplane.
Yeah.
Jesus.
God, yeah. Yeah. So I had, like you, I had a bunch of scenes right now. I also had I didn't put it, but I had the scene written down where like he won't shut up about his mom getting out there and like getting laid. And I'm like, why are you going on with this? Like, this is not. I was like, look, we've talked about this so much on this fucking show already with incest. Like, this isn't funny. Like, drop it. Stop bringing it up. But ultimately, what I went with was the one you mentioned earlier, and it's because of its essentially its punchline was just disgusting to me and not funny at all. But was when he helps the baby be born, swings it around by its umbilical cord, and then proceeds to bite it off with his teeth without the camera at any point moving away.
Yeah, didn't need that.
Yeah, at no point was I laughing. At no point was I like even chuckled. I was like, this is gross. This is not funny. Why did I have to watch you bite that off? Just to get reminded of it later when he has it taped, his umbilical cord taped to his fucking chest, or his real chill brown girlfriend wants to blow him.
I don't know. I can't explain anything in this movie. I just know that Al from Showgirls would love it.
I would have gotten his blowjobs.
Yeah, he got his blowjobs. Good for him.
Yeah, I would have gotten a lot of blowjobs. All right. Next up, the Ed Wood worst line or lines, which there are plenty.
There's so many that it's oversaturated. Like it's picking was hard because there's so many bad lines. Every line of this movie is a bad line.
Yeah.
So I narrowed it down to two. My first one is in the cheese sandwich factory when he just randomly grabs a giant sausage and goes, "Ding dong, I'm a sexy boy," and just stands on the conveyor belt going, "Ding dong," over and over again until they break for lunch.
Yeah. This film is filled with moments that are clearly meant to be like him breaking character for the movie and do something Tom Green like from his show, and none of it works because it's still being played like a movie. So I think that's it. Like if this was being played where like they reacted, I'd laugh a little bit at it. But it's just like a random scene that happens in the film, and then they're just not reacting to it. So it's like, okay, it's not funny. I'm not seeing any reaction, other than you being a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I had this written down too, but I didn't use it. But I remember just being like, "This what? Okay."
And then my other one just annoyed me. I mean, a lot annoyed me, but it's when he's driving away and Rip Torn's like getting on his ass and he just yells, "Bye bye, daddy. I'm going to get a jobby." I was like, ugh. If I didn't value my television so much, I would have thrown something at it.
The way he writes the talking to his dad is not, I know it's meant, he clearly writes it meaning to be funny, that he's a 20-year-old dude talking like that to his dad, but it's just weird and creepy.
Tom Green strikes me as a guy who, so like, many people told him he was funny just so they didn't want to hurt his feelings. I think that happened, and he convinced himself he was funny, but he wasn't funny.
No. That had to be it, because I don't understand it. Even when they were showing during the credits, they were showing like the goofs. It seemed like he was only one ever laughing. If you notice,
yep.
Like no one, when they would break, he'd laugh, and everyone's just kind of standing there. I'm like, clearly no one is enjoying this. You're the only one in on the joke, which again is probably why I'm not fucking finding it funny.
Yeah, that explains it. Oh,
okay. My two. The first one was going back to that hospital scene, and clearly what was meant, you could tell it was meant to be funny, and I didn't laugh an ounce at it. And that's when the lady, before she is having birth, is like, "Could you please keep it down? This is a hospital and I'm pregnant." And I was like, I don't understand the joke here. Like, I don't understand the correlation being made between being pregnant and loud inducing labor. And in case anyone's like, "Oh, you're a dude, you don't understand." My sister's pregnant, and I ask her plenty of questions. And being loud has not induced labor when she's literally due any time this month. So loudness has not induced labor for her. So I doubt it. That's the thing.
Interesting choice.
Yeah. It's just like, you can tell it's meant to be funny. I'm like, that was stupid. I don't get it. I was actively trying to avoid putting Tom Green lines on here. So
didn't help it. He's the focus of this thing. And
yeah. And I do have a second one, and because like you, I had two. My second one is later. It's said by Rip Torn, and it's when they're having their dinner date, and he's trying to act like he's on the phone, and he finds out his girlfriend's in a wheelchair, and I forget what she says, and she's like, "Oh, she's like, you have a problem with me being with my legs not working." And his response is literally, and it comes off incredibly problematic now, is you just have a problem with your legs, either that or you're just lazy.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, that should be funny, but something in me says that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was a rough one. They just really, really wanted you to hate Rip Torn so that you would laugh when he was accused of touching his son.
Which I didn't even laugh when that happened, because I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I feel like this one was you went outside the box because I did not. We might have the same person. But I might be surprised. The Steven Seagal, the worst performance.
Yeah, you're not going to be surprised. This 100% goes to Tom Green.
I put the same thing. So
yeah, fuck him. I can't. I refuse to accept. Everyone else who was in this, I just felt sorry for. Like, clearly they needed the money. This is the best they could do. They weren't getting any other offers. And they just were like, I'll just sleepwalk my way through this and hope to God it doesn't destroy my career. Tom Green, however, was like, this is my magnum opus. Worship me and laugh.
Yeah. What's funny is it did not destroy the others' careers. They all went on to do shit after the film still.
Yeah.
Rip Torn was in Dodgeball, memorably, as Patches.
Yeah. Ironically, in a wheelchair.
Yeah. God damn it. God damn it. But yeah, they all went on to do other stuff, whereas Tom Green, training as magnum opus, did nothing after this. He went on to nothing.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of figured we won't go outside the box there. I was like, I would have been really surprised if you had told me you did, but okay. Next up, the Michael Bay worst filmmaking decision, which I feel like easy, but I know I got somewhat creative.
I pretty much just went with the entire concept of like Freddy Got Fingered. That whole subplot is completely pointless to the movie. Like, some social worker drags a 25-year-old man out of his apartment and just puts him in a foster home. And that's the end of it. We never hear about the whole fingering thing again. It's so weird and unnecessary. And that's saying something in this weird ass movie. I was just like, did this make it past the first draft?
It's like he wants this to be surreal and like live in this heightened universe. But the thing is, you have to really establish that, right? You have to establish that this is a heightened universe. It is surreal. Like South Park, for example, establishes very early on in a show run that things are heightened, things are outrageous. It establishes that. So then when it does happen, you can go with it. You're going with the flow, right? This one doesn't really, to me, ever take the time to establish that this is a heightened universe. This is a surreal universe we're living in. So when these things like this happen, they just feel random for the sake of fucking random, and it's not funny. It doesn't make sense. I'm just sitting going, why? Like, had you established like in this universe, they take it that seriously, and they are going to just randomly pull people out, 20-some years out of their house and don't know if they've been touched. Like, then if you found a way to establish that would have been a payoff to that joke. You know what I mean? But you don't. So it's just a thing that happens, and then you're going, as a viewer, going, why?
Tom Green is like if a talentless David Lynch went to Florida State. That's what he seems like. He wants to have like that kind of career, like a David Lynch-esque comedy career, but he lacks any talent whatsoever to pull that off.
Yeah, he does. That's pretty apt. I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, oh God. No, I don't. Yeah, he it's like he's trying. You can tell there's an attempt being made to be surreal and out there and different, but there's no establishment of it for us to really connect to it. Instead of making everything just coming off annoying. And that's what I was my mix was trying to remember something to say. The thing he's watching, what Freddy's watching on the TV, before they grab him and put him in the home, that is actual footage of Tom Green's testicular cancer getting removed.
Why? Ugh.
To give you an idea of the kind of like dude we're working with here, he got diagnosed with testicular cancer, I believe, and he actually had it filmed and then felt the need to add the footage to this movie in that scene. And I'm like, no one wants to watch that, dude. No one. It's not funny. There's nothing funny about fucking watching that.
I hate shock comedy where it's just like there's no point to it. You're just trying to make people throw up and hopefully laugh at the absurdity of something. I can't stand that kind of comedy.
You can be shocking, right? Like there's a way to be shocking and make it work.
Yeah.
There's definitely plenty of musicians in the metal world that have done that. Like, Cooper, Rob Zombie to an extent very early in his career. Before it came out that he is a monster, apparently, Manson obviously in his early career. So you can pull it off and being shocking to an extent and it being intriguing and getting people. And I'm not saying that there aren't comedians that know how to do shock comedy, but no, you're right. If you do it wrong, like in this case, and there's nothing really like me laughing, and then I'm just watching it going, dude, this isn't funny. I'm tired. I don't want to see your fucking testicular cancer video of it getting removed. Like that's just gross. Like I don't. Fuck you, man. It's not funny. And I do get where you're coming from in that regard.
Yeah, I agree. Because if you're gonna try shock comedy, shock, music, something, you better have the talent and skill to back it up. And that's where Zombie and Alice Cooper thrive, is they can back it up. Certain comedians like Ron White, for example, he says a lot of weird, fucked up, random shit, but he's also really goddamn funny.
Yeah, George Carlin back in the day.
Yeah, the whole 7 words you can't say on television, that was 100% shock, but also very good points made.
Yes, and really fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
This is just shock. There's no talent backing it up. Just here's the video of when I got my testicle cancer removed. Isn't it funny, guys? No, it's a video I don't want to watch. It's not. What's the joke? Yeah. With that said, that's a good segue for my fucking Michael Bay, and that is having a movie which relies so heavily on Green's excessive, loud, unfunny sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly. It's all him. It's him begging people to love to find him funny. That's what this all is. It's him just telling people like, please love me.
I don't, quite frankly, I'm, to be blunt, fuck you, Tom Green. I don't find you talent as hack.
Yeah. Look at me. Look, I'm funny. Look at me. No, you're not. Go away.
I'm just gonna say right now, it says something that when his show and Jackass came out at the same time, he has been forgotten. Jackass is still going strong. Just gonna point that out. With that, let's move on to the silver linings, which this was the hardest I have ever had in picking something. Before I say mine, what did you come up with?
This was pretty easy for me. After the failure of this movie, we barely saw Tom Green again. That was my silver lining, is this movie destroyed his career and we saw him in fleeting glimpses, and thankfully he just stayed in his cave. So that was my silver lining. We lost Tom Green in the public consciousness.
I like how basically you're like, we needed this movie to exist so we could finally get rid of Tom Green.
Yeah, this is, the spell that needed to be cast for the greater good.
Like some kind of movie god's like, look, can you imagine, let's imagine what the Greek gods are just movie gods, and they're just looking at them one guy going, you cannot do this to those people. They're looking at Freddy Got Fingered. He's like, no, you can't. You cannot do them to those people. Like, if we don't do this, that man stays famous.
Worth it.
Right? And they're like, all of them just at that point went, okay, good point. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. For me, I did stick with something in the film. Something that it had me laugh mostly, at least smile, chuckle. And I did laugh quite a bit at the running gag of that child getting hurt. I do agree with you. Yeah, I didn't need all the scene, the blood, and the really what almost seemed less like acting and very real screaming, crying. But as far as running gags and if all the various dumb running gags are going and jokes kind of running throughout the film, this one was the only one rooted in some kind of like actual funniness. You know what I mean? It had some kind of root of like, okay, here's a recurring joke that was kind of funny. That, like I said, like before they showed him going all hysterical over the baseball, the part when the dad just throws the baseball and just pegs him right in the face, and then his reaction, oh shit, yeah, I laughed. I was like, okay, that's funny. Okay. And I do remember thinking like, if only we had more of that. Again, had Tom Green just cut back a little bit, not felt the need to show all the blood and the screaming and shit, it would have been that much better. And had he done more humor like that, I think this one would have been a hell of a lot better. But it wasn't. And so I just got this brief moment of me going, okay, that's pretty funny. And like I said, I am glad the MPA won because I think the payoff's way better of just seeing the blood spatter and then you hear him in the background going, I'm fine. It made me laugh. So in a way, I'm glad the MPA kind of actually won that one.
Okay. I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
I nearly had Anthony Michael Hall as my silver lining because he was just hilarious as this agent who couldn't be bothered and is just telling him like, no, fuck you. These aren't funny. Try harder. Go away.
Yeah. I wonder if like he was gonna be in the whole movie and then he saw a script and just went, nope, I'll do like 2 scenes. I'll give you 2 scenes and that's it.
Oh God. Yeah, there's very little to like here, so we had to reach.
Yeah, and like I said, I get where you're coming from because yes, I do agree. Like seeing like it lingering the way it does is excessive, but like the ideal of like hey, let's have a running guy where the kid gets hurt constantly. That part was fine to me. I laugh at kids getting hurt. What can I say? All right, it's funny sometimes.
Whatever you say.
I'm really trying. Look, I had to reach. Okay, not my most glorious silver lining. Okay.
Okay.
But on that note, let's move on to what I feel like, based off what you told me earlier, will be a very puzzling segment from what's in our show, and that is what's in the box.
What's in the fucking box? Give me the gun.
Yeah, this was tough finding ones that weren't glorifying this thing. A lot of the Letterboxd reviews are like misunderstood, a masterpiece ahead of its time. There would be no Adult Swim without this movie. It's like
I have seen plenty of Adult Swim. I've enjoyed their surrealist humor that they do very much do on that show. Yes. The difference is I can laugh at violence in a cartoon in a different way than I can in live action.
Well, and Adult Swim's for the most part, their shows are pretty funny.
Yeah, for the most part, their shows are hilarious.
2.8 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which was way higher than I expected.
Also, Tom Green hasn't done a fucking thing for Adult Swim. He hasn't contributed a single show. So I think they would have existed without this fucking movie.
Yeah, I think so too. So without further ado, let's get into it. I've got 5 here. This is from Olivia. Maybe it's a good thing we don't hear from Tom Green anymore. 2 stars. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
I like the idea that like she was probably sitting there going, why does no one like Tom Green anymore? And then she saw this movie and went, oh.
Suddenly it all makes sense.
Came together.
This one pissed me off. I couldn't tell if this person was being sarcastic or really believes this. It's from Cerise. 9 out of 10. Better than every Wes Anderson film. 4.5 stars. I don't know why she chose Wes Anderson. Yeah.
I haven't seen a whole lot of Wes Anderson films, and that's not because I hate the guy. I actually have liked what I've seen. I really enjoyed Grand Budapest, to be exact. What with that set, why? That's all I have right now.
Yes,
I lost my train of thought, and all I got is why.
I guess because Wes Anderson does surrealist comedy.
His surrealist comedy actually makes me laugh.
Yeah, there you go. So, Cerise, I hope you do better.
Yeah, like I laugh when William Dafoe randomly threw his Jeff Goldblum's cat out the window in Grand Budapest. It was random. It made no sense, but I laughed. Maybe because I didn't see the whole other half of that where the cat flies through the air, plummets to the ground, splatters everywhere, and then some kid screaming in agony. Maybe it's because I just saw it get thrown out the window, a quick little scream, and then that was it.
Yeah, and then Goldblum didn't stroll down there and wear the fucking cat.
Yeah, or lick its wounds or anything. I quick little throwaway scene with a great little payoff of, did you throw my cat out the window? And then we moved on.
This one's my favorite. This is from Kelly Alana. No. Half a star.
Oh,
No.
Hey, Kelly. I also gave it half a star. It is sitting. This is my first non-full star movie I put on Letterboxd.
And I agree 100% with you. No.
Yeah.
Well done.
Enough said.
Number 4. This is an interesting. I don't really know what to make of this, but I'm including it. It's from Bench Rester. Kind of like Malcolm X for people with autism. 5 stars. I don't know.
What?
I don't know. 5 stars. This is like the Malcolm X for autistic people.
Yeah, like first off, how do you relate this to Malcolm X? And second off, do you actually know what autism is, bro? I was like, I'm not going to name names because this is a podcast. I don't know if my friend might wants to actually name them, but I know certain people in my life that are autistic, and I don't think they view the world quite like Tom Green does.
No, I also know some autistic people, and no, I think Tom Green's just a weird asshole. I think there's a difference.
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
And that takes us to number 5 from Groovy Grapes. I've never seen anything like this movie. Whether that's a compliment or not is up to you. Half a star. Yeah, fair enough. We make our own way. I, for one, think this movie is a piece of shit. I will never be watching it again. I hope to God I don't think about it ever again. That probably is not my call.
I'm going to just randomly text you, Daddy, do you want some sausages at various points in your life?
Why?
The only line I remember.
The only part that made me laugh, there's one line in the movie that made me laugh, and it's when he gets the LeBaron. And he's telling his dad, I'll make you proud, Pop. Like, Daddy, I'm going to go to Hollywood. And he starts driving and he screams at the old person, get the fuck out of the way. That made me laugh. That's what I was in the beginning. And I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't going to be that bad. And then it was.
Yeah, I remember thinking that going, okay, this is a good start. I don't see why people. And then it went. It kept going. I was like, oh. The moment the horsey part, I went, okay, I think I have an idea of why. Okay, yep.
Oh, my God. I was hoping the horse would just buck, smack him in the face and kill him.
No. Is that all that's in the box?
That is all that is in the box.
All right. Let's
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. I feel like we have sounded the least lively, and I'm hoping we made it past an hour, but goddamn this film.
There's bad movies, and then there's places where we dare not tread, and we did that this time. So I think in the future, maybe we think about movies that have some value. It's a little bit.
Oh, nope. I'll occasionally pick the really bad film. We have to. This is a bad film podcast. It's gotta be on the bad, for Christ's sakes.
Well, I don't think we went beyond the bad on this one. I think we just got stuck in the bad.
We didn't.
There was nowhere else to go.
The boss. We did not get past the boss fight. I'm saying that because I have X-Play playing on my TV, and they're playing Elden Ring, so they're trying to get past the boss now, and I just love a boss fight. But yeah, it's just between this movie and then watching Firestarter, where I felt like I wasn't all in on the Filmgazm episode because it was just there just wasn't much to say about that movie. It was it's a movie, it exists, it's there.
Next week, hopefully, we'll be recalibrated. We got better stuff. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine next week. So if you guys feel that we've been subpar, well, Daddy got some sausages. I don't know what to tell you. That's all I got from this movie. Let's reveal what before. Oh, I was going to say let's not reveal yet. I'm not revealing what happens next week. First, social media, then reveals. Duh. First you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Filmgazm Productions. If you want to shoot us a recommendation, feel free to email us at filmgazm@gmail.com. If you'd like to donate, support us anyway, you can find us on Anchor. And also we have a website known as film.com, reviews, articles, and all of our episodes. You can thank keeping the reviews portion up because I've kind of been slacking with the amount of podcasts and movies I'm watching. So I'm usually getting done with a podcast and then going straight into another movie to watch for another podcast. It's great. But thank you, Connor, for keeping up the reviews on the website.
You're welcome.
All right. So with that, next week, we'll be tackling another terrible superhero film. Apparently the third DC film, because I completely forgot that someone that wasn't me plugged in Batman Forever. And now here we are on the third time with DC. So we'll be looking at DC again. And the Ryan Reynolds starring film that they thought was going to be a surefire hit, Green Lantern.
Yay. It's been a minute since I watched Green Lantern. I didn't care for it. I also didn't think it was, horrific. So this will be
I own it because my mom was cleaning out her film collection one day and she had it and she's like, hey, do you want this? And I'm one of those that kind of like how you always read it. I'm like, it's a free movie, fuck it. I said yes. I was like, yeah, fuck, it's a free Blu-ray, why not? I didn't have to pay anything for it, so it's sitting in my collection.
Yeah, I don't own it, but I'm pretty sure it's on HBO Max.
It's somewhere. I know HBO Max, based off what I've been hearing with their CW stuff, they're looking at getting everything DC show movie onto there.
Well, I feel like they probably already have it. Let me find out. Just first.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to watch along, as I assume you are, here's where you can watch Green Lantern. HBO Max. Yep. And Tubi. You have that.
Which if you don't have it, it's free, so it doesn't hurt to get it. No, I say that because I know that's been like one of the rumors on why CW is just canceling the Arrowverse shows, because I guess HBO is like, hey, we want everything on Max, so start getting rid of this shit. Which you know what? I get it. I totally get it. I do wish they'd let some of these shows that they just canceled have an ending, but I understand kind of consolidating it to one service to make it easy on the consumer viewing this stuff. So, I mean, Disney Plus is doing it, so with the Marvel universe. On that, moving on. Sorry, now I got my weird tangent. On Filmgazm, we'll be looking at one of Tom Hardy's more interesting and talked about films and roles, if we're being honest. Bronson, which I've heard a lot about. It's been recommended to me a lot, so I'm looking forward to seeing that for the first time. On Oscar Sunday, they're going super classic on us with 1932's Shanghai Express.
Yes, that'll be interesting. It's a film that we had a hell of a time tracking down. We finally did, and now we're doing it. I'm going to be watching it as soon as we're done recording here. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. I'm going to be playing some Assassin's Creed Valhalla as soon as we get done recording here because I am off for the rest of the week.
Nice. I'm off for the next 3 months. I can't wait.
You bastard. Finally, on Sneak Preview, we'll be discussing hopefully good, but getting worried because reviews haven't fucking come out yet. It's not a good sign when it comes to a Blumhouse film if they wait till the last minute. Just saying. New take on the Stephen King story, Firestarter. The one where I'm so wrapping my head that Zac Efron is old enough to play a dad now. How time is a vicious bitch to us all.
Yeah. Well, I can't even lie. This wasn't fun.
Yeah, no, this movie was painful, and usually, like, we've done it when we watch films. We can joke if it's bad enough. I couldn't, like, if I had watched this with you in like person, I can't even imagine being able to make jokes. I'd just be sitting there in horror looking at you like, is this almost over?
Yeah, this is one of those films that I feel like we're the first people in 20 years to actually watch all the way through.
Nostalgia Critic on YouTube watched it recently for an episode, and he hated it too. He was just like, "Oh my god!"
Thank God we're not alone. Because now if there's people who like this movie, I don't know what else. I don't know if I can actually trust anything anymore.
Can't trust humanity. Actually, is a great segue to how my closing statement. Until then, folks, if you see Tom Green doing a movie, show, or stand-up, just leave. Just walk. To quote Mad Max 2, just walk away and do something better with your life. See you all next week on Beyond the Bad.